Well, Corey and Jared, it is a pleasure to be visiting with both of you this morning, and I'm excited to hear more about what you guys are doing in the beef industry and your role in helping seed stock producers and commercial producers just be more profitable and improve their operations. Before we dive into all of that, I'm really curious what each of your roles are in Allied Genetic Resources. So, Corey, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, thank you, Shay, for the opportunity to come on and get recorded in this. And Corey Wilkins, live here in north central Alabama with my wife, Callie, and son, Flynn. Exciting times in the Wilkins household. We're expecting another child any day now, but have the privilege to be the director of sales services with Allied Genetic Resources. Get to work with Jared and his better half, Julie Murnin. And we work with seed stock producers kind of from coast to coast, anywhere from 35 to 40 seed stock marketing events per year, and no geographic location. We work with producers from Utah to North Carolina and everywhere in between. And the clientele that we get to work with market a large volume of bulls, obviously, around 6,000 Simmental and Sim Angus bulls primarily, with a few Angus and Red Angus clients as well. And then on the flip side of that, any given year we'll market roughly 2,000 females, both seed stock and commercial as well. But get the opportunity to work with great clientele, great producers, and it's fun to get to work with Jared and the great team at Allied as well.
Awesome. Jared, how about yourself? Do you want to share a little bit about your role and how you view that with Allied Genetic Resources?
Yes, Jared Murnin. I live outside of Billings, Montana, with my wife Julie, who also helps on the sale management team, and we have two children, Claire and Cooper. We have a small herd of cows as well, and the kids are very active in 4-H FFA and love showing livestock and cattle in particular, so that keeps us busy in our off time there. Again, thank you for the opportunity. Yes, I work with Corey on the seed stock marketing side of things with Allied Genetic Resources, helping primarily seed stock producers orchestrate their event, their cattle sale, again, like Corey summed up, primarily bulls, but also females. Just aid in that process. I primarily stay out west, but do travel and help Corey back east, and then I think fair to say both of us kind of tag team the Midwest is some of our structure that way, to add on to what Corey said with our marketing team here at Allied.
Well, thank you both for introducing yourself and helping the listeners and myself get to know you a little better. Now, we're talking about Allied sale management today and the service you are providing there. Would you take some time to walk us through, really what goes into that service? What would that look like if you were to, say, onboard a new seed stock provider or a new customer and start working with them?
Yeah, within the sale management, I think that we work with a lot of the details of a marketing event, if that makes sense. We kind of have a menu-based option of what we work with different seed stock producers, and that can range from a wide variety of things. As me and Jared spend a lot of time at these operations planning and screening and going through the cattle ahead of these marketing events. Julie Murnin does a great job with our catalog and advertising budgets, and we clerk sales, we take some pictures, we book auctioneers and ringmen, and kind of try and handle the details of the sale, and ultimately we hope that it culminates in a more successful event, both financially for seed stock producers. I think that's one measure of the success. Is my sale better than last year? Or is my sale better than it was in the past? And obviously that's what we're there to do. And then I view a successful sale as, is there enough buyers there to accurately evaluate the price point of the bulls or the females that we're selling? And I think that's a better measure of success. Is one of the things before the sale I like to do is I kind of walk by the clerking station and see how many buyer cards that we have handed out before we get started at the sale. And if you have the right ratio for that geographic location, I can kind of tell you how the sale's going to go. So we work hard at the details of the sale, spend lots of time around these ranches screening and planning and getting to know the operation and getting to know the cattle and the people that we're working with. So manage the details and hope that culminates in a successful marketing event. And another thing that we do and pride ourselves on is customer outreach. We spend a lot of time on the road networking with commercial customers, and Jared and myself and Marty and the whole Allied team in terms of genetic acquisitions and bringing customers to the sale. That's one thing that we pride ourselves on and work tirelessly in doing that as well.
Jared, do you have anything more to add to that?
Well, I think Corey did a great job of summarizing all the details that we do. And maybe what I could add is, if we're bringing on a new client or a potential new client, maybe some of the processes we go through. If it's a client we haven't worked with a lot before, I think we like to sit down, go pay them a visit, and just see if their goals and operations and everything, if it's a good fit for our strengths. If it is, we proceed forward. If our ideas line up and it's going to be a good fit for both, I think that's the start of hopefully a successful relationship for years to come. And from there, we also try to get to know each individual, just like Corey said, is alluded to, that is different. They may not need all of the services that we provide. They might have a certain strength that they're really good at, that they could and should continue to do. Maybe they've got a great team for sale day clerking already in place, so we can kind of mix and match our services to tailor make a successful event for the customer there that we're trying to serve there. So I think getting to know the client and helping them, making sure it's a good fit for them and for us, and realizing their strengths and weaknesses and help them continue to do what they're good at, and hopefully we can pick up some of the slack at some areas where they are lacking or need some help.
So Jared, in saying that, you talked about kind of filling in maybe some of the gaps and allowing them to still be strong and carry out those areas where they already have good systems in place and are thriving in those areas of sale management. But in your mind, what is the primary benefit that your customers see from bringing on your team to help with sale management?
Yes, I think in my opinion, the primary benefit is one, our expertise. I mean, that's what Corey and I do throughout the year, is help people market their seed stock. We do it all over the country throughout the fall and the spring, so we bring a lot of experience. Just some of the little details that we see because we're in it every day to help you have a better event, whether that's improving your pictures, improving your videos, the flow and lotting of your catalog, sale order, all those little details that people may or may not realize are huge things to putting a professional image out there to help you gain customers. There's a ton of seed stock sales in every state anymore. The commercial customer has tons of choices of where they source their genetics. How do you set yourself apart to attract that potential new buyer? In some of those little details that you may not even think of, but to me are very key in putting yourself out in the best light as possible to attract hopefully new customers and retain the ones that you have.
I think Jared summarized that very well, but maybe one thing is within seed stock producers, they have a great passion, it seems like, in producing livestock. When it comes to calving or AIing and things like that, maybe one thing that seed stock producers don't have a passion for is getting them sold or getting them marketed at a high level. And I think that's something that we help with, and giving producers confidence. And then likewise, it's just telling your story is what I think that we do. And it doesn't really, what makes your product different than your neighbor up 200 miles down the road or 100 miles down the road that's selling Angus bulls? Because I think that's important, is telling your story. You know, if you're in central Nebraska and you're just advertising, you know, let's say 100 genomically enhanced yearling Sim Angus and Simmental bulls, that's kind of flat. What makes your operations different, if that makes sense to you? And I think that's one thing that we work hard in capitalizing, because we manage, like I said, 35 events a year, and everyone's story is a little bit different, and we try and work hard at making their product different for commercial producers, because frankly there's a lot of options out there, you know, where you can source your genetics at.
So is this service breed specific, or are you working with a variety of breeds?
Primarily with Allied is a vast majority of the operations that we work with are Sim Angus and Simmental, but we do work with Angus and Red Angus clients as well. So open to all breeds. Largest percentage of our animals marketed would be Sim Angus or Simmental bulls, primarily hybrid bulls.
Okay. Now, does either one of you have an example of maybe how you've specifically helped one of your clients improve their sale? Are there any specific stories that you'd like to share?
You know, there's one operation there in Missouri, and I kind of was there from the start, and it's fun to see these operations grow when you get to the 5-year mark or the 10-year mark, and you know, we've got operations that's been hosting their 50th annual sale this fall or this spring. But there's one operation in particular. It was fun. If you're around auctioneers and ringmen, you always hear kind of before the sale, or it's a fun topic, what's the worst sale you've ever been to? And this specific one was one of the poorest sales I've ever been to in terms of financial return to those bull providers. But now I look at that operation, and they're marketing 200 bulls a year annually, grossing well north of $1 million or approaching $2 million a year. And that operation was fun. And what changed in that was it was similar genetics, it was similar people working. We just did a better job at getting the right people involved and marketing and getting customers in there as well. That was one I always was fun to look back at. It was kind of 9-10 years ago at the beginning, and when I just started with Allied, and that operation's been fun. As along with all the operations, it's fun to see growth and see those customers successful.
I'm fairly new to the Allied team, so some of the sales I've picked up have been or stepped into the role as already existed. But I again, without name dropping, we do have again another group marketing event that's been happening now getting close to 20 years, and Marty started with that group, and I think it's been a real success helping that group create a uniform product, even though it is a conglomeration of seed stock producers that had similar ideas and genetics, but maybe not quite the numbers necessarily to have a bull sale on their own, at least at the scale that they want to do. So over the years, that has become a very successful sale. So that's been fun. And by having sale management, I think that's helped them keep organized, been a third party to help with some decision making amongst the group. So that's one example of a successful way to utilize sale management is in a group marketing event. But also another operation that I kind of took over the reins of working with that, you know, started with cattle that had very little data, no genomic testing, and through the years started working with Allied Sale Management was, I think, the start, but then started utilizing all the other facets that we offer in terms of genetic consulting, the right mate, right choice, a little bit in the feeder calf marketing, and over the last decade, how that sale has grown. The quality of cattle are night and day difference from where they started. And each year the sale just continues to gain steam and success and more customers year after year. And that's been, even in my short time, been very fun to see the improvement in that sale. But it's because of the systems approach. It started with sale management and utilizing our services, and that helped move them forward. But by getting into the whole system and utilizing all the tools that Allied Genetic Resources has to offer, it's greatly improved their whole operation. That would be safe to say, and it's shown in results in the success of their sale and their program.
Okay. Now, when I think about the beef industry, and especially Allied Genetic Resources, there's a lot of different moving parts and pieces, but they're all connected and helping each other. It's not a step ladder going down, it's a full circle where they're all connected. So how do you see and view what you're doing with sale management as helping the commercial producer? How does everything you're doing trickle down to help that cow-calf producer?
Yeah, obviously it's Allied. We have so many umbrellas, as I like to talk, and obviously we're in the cell management umbrella, and I think that's what makes our different is what work that Dr. Sachi does with right mate and right choice, or Leoma with data, or Clinton Rockley with marketing feeder cattle. But that, in terms of cell management, what we deliver to commercial customers, and one of the great prides that I have is getting to acquire bulls, a superior genetic product, if you will, for commercial cattlemen. And one thing that we're on the road all the time, travel way too many nights of the year, but get to see a lot of cattle, get to work with a lot of operations. And I guess what we can bring to commercial producers is we can acquire genetics for you at a sensible price that's going to come with incredible service from the Allied team and with the clientele that we work with as our seedstock marketing events, with a great bull warranty, affordable service, and then feeder cattle marketing options and things like that. And I know it's, kind of when we get kicked off in January, I have some clients that are real, maybe budget sensitive, if you will, from a bull buying standpoint, and they kind of give me a price point, tell me what specs they want, if it's heifer bulls or if it's growth bulls, and then throughout the year we might bid at several different venues, but there's going to be a day that we're going to get the right bulls for you for the budget that you want. And I think that's what we can deliver most to commercial cattlemen, and give you access to the host of services that Allied Genetic Resources offers.
So Jared, from your perspective, what would you say is a common misunderstanding that producers have about the sale management service?
I've thought about this a lot, and you see it, but I kind of maybe compare it to when I think a lot of guys are also farm, so I'm going to go down a little path here for a second. You're right in the middle of spring planning and your tractor breaks down. Kind of a major deal, hard to fix. You've got a couple options. You can fix it yourself, but do you have the expertise and the time to fix it and fix it right? And if you do, how long is that going to take you? Or do you hire a mechanic who has the tools, has the knowledge, hopefully get you back in the field within a day, up and going? So that's maybe a little bit of where I'm going with this, is hiring sale management versus not. But some, I feel at times, think by hiring sale management, say we can walk away, we hired a mechanic, seeding's going to be, planning's going to be done. And that's not the case. You're hiring us to help market your cattle, but it takes a team effort from the producer and us as well. Yes, we do have a lot of clientele we work with and bring a lot of hopefully some bids and things to the sale to add to it, but ultimately we want to help build you a better product in your own clientele that you can retain for years to come and make a solid business structure, because that's probably the biggest thing when we work with a new client is, all right, we've hired you, our work here is done. We can just go back to raising cattle and calving them. You guys handle the rest, which we do help a lot, and we give you the tools to get there, but we still need producer cooperation to get it done. So ultimately, it's a team effort, and hopefully we're giving you the right tools. We're saving you time to go out and do some customer outreach and put your program forward.
Okay. Corey, is there anything else you want to add on to that?
Yeah, maybe from the seed stock side is, it's always, sale days are fun. That's the culmination of all this work, and it's such an important day for guys, but sale management goes far beyond sale day. We don't pull up the day before, put together a nice sale order, and get a catalog and just enjoy the benefits. It's more weeks that goes into this sale, if that makes sense, in terms of the time that we're going to spend at ranches, the time that we are working on the sale, or calling customers or things like that. I think there's a misconception sometimes amongst seed stock producers as sale management is that sale day. And there's so much more that goes into it, and I think that's what makes us different in terms of Allied, is the amount of time and effort that we spend around these seed stock customers and get to know their cattle and things like that. It's far beyond sale day to make a sale successful, and we spend a lot of nights and a lot of time going at these operations.
Okay. Now, I know earlier in our conversation, Jared was talking about, that onboarding of a new customer and making sure that you guys are a fit for them. So who is that ideal producer who is going to get the most benefit out of a service like this?
Guess I can start with that in terms of what I feel is an ideal customer for us to work with. And I think it starts with a customer is open-minded and progressive. A lot of things that the Allied group and our team does is trying to be on the leading edge and cutting edge of not only genetics, but marketing and data. And like I say, the most successful clients we work with utilize all of these tools and services through Allied, through that umbrella, as Corey said. So I think working with one that's progressive, if we just pull up and the customer says, again, kind of like I stated earlier, here they are, get them sold, and I don't want to see them again. That's probably not the ideal customer for us. We want somebody who's progressive, got a teamwork attitude, and that stands behind their product and service. This is a service business. Yes, you're producing bulls and genetics, but ultimately you're producing a product and a service for that commercial customer. You want to improve their cow herd and stand behind the product that you're producing throughout the year.
So, guys, as we wrap up our conversation today, if there's one thing you want producers to remember about Allied sale management, what would that be?
Some things that we talked about is we're hired to make the sale better, and I've used this analogy in presentations. And sometimes I wish I was in a business of like building fence, and you just pay me to go build a fence, and you can see that fence built. And it takes time, obviously, and working and progressing in the right direction to make your sale better. And there's just so many facets that go into a successful sale. It takes time to make that big jump. Obviously, over the last near decade is the biggest jump with clients that we work with is actually from year 1 to year 2, not year 0 to year 1, if that makes sense. So it takes time, and then it's a team effort as well. Like Jared's hinted to it, is we're there to make the sale better, but obviously you're going to have to do your bargain in terms of customer outreach and using the right technology and getting the right purchasers or bull buyers there. And then I guess from a seed stock side, I think that's one thing to remember. And then if you're on here and a commercial cattleman producer is, me and Jared would love to visit with you about if you're looking for superior progressive genetics or a superior genetic animal or a bull to move your operation in the right direction. I think that we can find that, and then we're going to bring you unbelievable service both from the allied sale and then our clients as well, and what they can do from the technology and then feeder cattle marketing as well.
Similar to what Corey said, but maybe just summarizing is if some things that would like ranchers to remember is if you work with Allied and one of our seed stock customers is professionalism and service. Maybe 2 words there I think are very key. You'll get a great product, great service in a very professional manner. Working with Allied is hopefully a benefit for ranchers and potential bull customers going down the road.
All right. Well, I want to thank the two of you for taking time out of your day to visit with me and talk more about Allied Sale Management and about the services that you offer to producers. For anyone listening, we'll make sure that any links to this service or other information mentioned throughout the podcast is easily available in the description. With that, thank you again.